and my chocolate. Have you guys dove into the playlist yet? There's a vibe. And each one is like, I'm rude. Music affects our subconscious. Thank God what I wanted back then isn't what I got now. So music affects our subconscious. So all the songs in there help to reprogram your subconscious so that you are in a happier, healthier, banging state. So today, excited about that. Go dive into that. You'll see that in our intro module. I believe it's in there. Yeah, it is in the welcome module. It's in the bottom. And so today, it's module C. We are talking about cutting the cords on control and learning to embrace your pleasure, your play, and your sensuality to connect. I'm so excited about that. This is what sparked really a lot of our brand, because in Healing Happy, we have the 3 triangles. I talk about this in the Femme experience, where it's like living sanctuary is on the bottom, which is, our like presence. This is our feminine essence. This is all of it. Then we have that savage CEO. This is our boss baby. And then we have our sacred slut. This is our seductress vibes. And so pleasure, play, sensuality, they all go into this triangle and they all make up you. And that's what men love. They want you to have all these pieces of you. And so we're going to dive into that today. So if you are someone that, you tend to want to be in control and you have this power struggle with men, this is for you. If you find it hard to relax around men and you feel like, I need to be a good girl, I need to perform, I need to be on my best behavior, I can't let him see me and my rawness, because you might be turned off by it or you might run away from it, this is for you. If you find it difficult to receive gifts from men, like for them to pay and or get you something, and like when you do, you like kind of clench up and you don't really even know how to receive, and if you do receive, you just feel compelled to like give it back to them, this is for you. This is a feminine wound. And so I'm really excited about this because this has been a really big one that I've navigated through in my own relationships. It was control and preferences, which is the theme of today, and not in the way that you would think control. Like, it's not like you can't go out and you can't do these things. I had a sneaky way that control would come in, masked in preferences that I used to attract, not even used to, I still do. This is the feminine, or this is the masculine. They come in, they're hot, they're heavy, and they're like, I love you. I've been waiting for you all my life. I'm just so happy that I met you, all the things. And I'm like, oh, yes. But because of insecure attachment, I would match their intensity. And then in my head now, because I want a husband and I want babies and I want this life and I want these things, I'd match their intensity. And all of a sudden, the things that were just so easy and like dating and I'm open, all of a sudden my brain is tripped up on, okay, so if we're going to get married, this is when we move in together. This is how things are going to look. This is the pace of which we're going to do things. This would just make sense of what step that we're in. I now have preferences of how I think my relationship is supposed to look in order to get to the altar. Getting in my controlling vibes. I'm going to control how this relationship goes so I feel safe. Because my wounds of my past of abandonment and rejection are going to play up. So I'm going to build these preferences of how I'm going to have to look, and you better perform in the way that I want you to perform so that we get to that altar. Masculine meets masculine. And eventually, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Or I can't give you what you want. Or cheating comes into the relationship. And I'm left with another bruised heart. Until I walked through what we're going to be covering in today, which is why you might be afraid of letting your guard down, how to embody. Again, I am with you. My notes are just behind you. Right? I'm with you. I'm here. How to embody your feminine essence with and around men, and so that you can have this like luscious, hypnotic, like intoxicating energy towards them that they're like, who the fuck are you? And how do I get more? And how do I stay here? How to express and experience vulnerability in a high value, regulated, open, healthy way, and how to create deep emotional connection with men. We're going to be covering all this. And so the first one of why you might be afraid of letting your guard down. Truth is, the reason we're all here is you probably have a bruised heart. You've been hurt, you've been let down. And so you have this strong persona of, I got me. I got me. I can do it all on my own. I'm doing it all on my own. I've been let down by so many people that now you're orchestrating in your mind who gets to know what and how much. Because that's how you learned to survive. And it has gotten you far. Because it's gotten you, however many years old you are today, it's gotten you here. But we start to then block our intimacy because of this. Because we're blocking our vulnerability. And we're afraid. And so we start to build these preferences. This is how I want my life to go so that I feel safe. Because this stuff has happened and this person did this and this person did this and we're carrying all this stuff. And then we control. And how many times are we lost in our head because he didn't say it this way, it didn't do this way. We're constantly, as soon as we're in the presence of someone, instead of it just being a moment and experiencing that present moment, our head goes, is he the one? And you start checking him out. Like, is that the one? Checking for red flags, checking the thing, as opposed to just enjoying the moment. And so it's normal that we built up these walls and that we're afraid to let our guard down because we wanted to protect. But the job, going back to what we talked about in the last module, the job, your inner job, is to no longer put stuff on top of the stuff you already have. And so it comes back to, how present can you be? Because the truth is, we put our guard up because we're constantly obsessing about this fear of not getting what we want or getting what we don't want. And so when we're sitting in this moment of like, I want a husband, I want a wife, I want a partner, I want a teammate, I want my lifelong soulmate. Here's how I want that to go. Intimacy blockers go up if it's not that, as opposed to every single moment in life is a piece of art, is a thing you get to open yourself to and expand yourself to and experience to the capacity, even the shitty fucking moments. If you look at who you are now, you became who you are because of the bad too. Every single moment, by science, everything compounded over time to lead you to this very moment right now. Every single thing. That's not woo, that's science. That's literally things that happened to get you into this very moment right now. How wild is that? Someone met someone, some feed, some things, some happened, da 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 da. All over the last 4 billion years of this planet being around led to this very moment. Michael Singer talks about this a lot. And so if you can actually look at, what am I afraid of actually like being myself about? Because I might get rejected. I might get abandoned. But if you actually trust yourself and embody who you are, that fear doesn't really hold anything. And so if you can just be, if those fears don't exist, now you can be present. And that's the work. Can you be as present as possible? That's the most exotic thing about you. Not giving your love away, not building up these walls, not putting any more stuff inside of you. It's just witnessing of, oh, there's my heart closing again. How can I open it? Oop, there she is again. How can I open it? And so it makes sense that things have happened in your past that bruised you, but those things now built up these preferences that are now making you afraid of being disappointed or rejected or abandoned, when really all you can do is let go of those. And it's not to say you don't have standards and you don't have these things, but can you just enjoy the moment in front of you without making it a meaning-making machine? You know, the times that you meet someone and you're like, that was great. And then all of a sudden you are way out there thinking of, is that my person? Is that my husband? Is that it? What does this mean? And he said this, and you're not here anymore. And you start to build up this whole narrative. This is where narrative therapy comes in. This whole narrative that works against us often. We're often arguing against ourselves. And so can you actually just keep yourself open to the present moment? And this moves into the second point of how to embody your feminine essence with and around men so that you can create this like, thing. The thing that I see the biggest struggle here the thing that blocks our feminine essence is we confuse femininity with mothering. And this is where, when I was talking to my friend before jumping on this call, the main message for today is from controlling bitch to playful seductress. Because how many of us, because of this guard up approach, come in with this mothering like I did? It has to be this way. It has to look this way. I have to control it this way. I have to plan. I have to do. I have to organize. You spend a lot of time in your head. I do too. But it is a cock blocker when it comes to relationships and actually being in the present moment of the relationship. We get it. It's the mother wound. It's what we were modeled, the self-abandoning, the people-pleasing, the good girl. Be seen but not heard. It's what we were modeled. And so to remove that, it's about finding trust within yourself, because at the end of the day, men want to be trusted. That's it. They spend so much time with all their narratives of women being like this, women being crazy, doing their thing. Men just want to be trusted, and it has nothing to do with you trusting him. It has everything to do with you trusting you. That's the biggest thing here. How much do you trust yourself, and what gets in the way of that? That's something for you to sit on and think about. Because of the bruised heart, because of things that have happened in your past, because of stuff, you closed your heart to yourself too. And so being in your feminine essence is being in the presence of the now. That's it. Being in this just joy and delight, sexual. When I say seductress and I say sensuality, like that, it doesn't mean sex. Sexuality is how present are you to the senses right now? How present are you? This is your presence. This is what makes it like, have you ever been sitting with someone and they're so present with you? And they're here, like I am with you right now, and you feel seen, and they're truly listening to you, as opposed to someone that's like, yeah. Like, that's sex. And then we spend a lot of time in the bedroom in life eating, like processing, going into our minds, which is not the feminine. Your heart being open and you feeling like, next time you go on a date, next time you're having sex, how many times have you been having sex and you're thinking about your laundry list of shit that you have to do? Being so in your body, being in this is the hypnotic thing. If you think about times when you go out, times when you are with your girlfriends and you're just having so much fun and you're in your feminine essence, if you're not worried about something, you're not over processing, you're not overthinking, you're not wondering, am I going to meet someone? Is this him? You meet someone, is this him? Like those things, when you're planning and you're controlling and you have your preferences getting in the way of the present, are what close you off. And that, to like men, to the masculine, is like, you're competing. When you want someone to lead, yet you're trying to lead. You're competing. Controlling is the lack of trust with the universe and God and you. And that comes from that insecurity, because you've had to control a lot, right? To survive, to get stuff done, to build your businesses, to do the things. And you've probably been in relationships where it's like, if he doesn't do it, then it doesn't get done. And what does that mean about me if it doesn't get done? If he doesn't plan the dates, if he doesn't chase me, if he doesn't do these things, what does it mean about me? As opposed to knowing yourself so much that it's like, if he doesn't pursue you, so the fuck what? It means absolutely nothing about you. Absolutely nothing about you. Can you trust yourself enough to surrender into your feminine, to know what it is to receive? Right? The feminine is to receive. This goes back to the receiving of the gifts and just saying thank you. Like for me, I never take out my wallet because that's not the type of relationship I want to be in. I will never pay. Like that's just not for me, even though I make the amount of money that I make and I don't want to be in a relationship like that. And the men that I call into my life, they want to give to me. High value men want to take care of you. They really do. They want to plan. They want to court. They don't want to compete for your Miss Independent act. Like just because you can do it doesn't mean you have to. I know I can afford my stuff. I know I can do these things. I don't need to prove that to anyone. Neither do you. Do you trust yourself in order to receive? Like I see a big thing in this essence is like I don't trust myself, so I don't want to get too attached to him, so I'm going to put up this roadblock. Or what if I get used to him, or what if he thinks less of me, or what if he thinks I'm not successful if he does this, and like our mind gets so away from us because of we're constantly trying to we're constantly living in fear of not getting what we want or fear of getting what we don't want, instead of just being like, oh, that's so freaking nice of you. Men love a fucking appreciation. Like they are starving for it. We're going to talk about this in the next module and we're going to do these kind of things. But if you really want love, if you really want a man that's just like dripping and drooling over you and like here for you, you have to be present for that, to receive that love, to know that you're worthy of that love, to open yourself up, to stop building more stuff from the past that told you were too much or told you weren't enough, and identifying with these attachments and identifying with these different things that are keeping you blocked from true intimacy. Thinking you have to control and you have to do and you have to go out of your own way and you have to be the good girl in order to perform something. It's like, you don't. Your feminine essence is enough. Like you right now, perfect. You're perfect. Knowing that you are something that is rare and valuable. That is the thing that makes men go nuts. It's like, you don't have to prove. You don't have to stretch. You don't have to do anything. It's not a job interview. You're just there, and like your natural tendency of love, divinity, men don't tap into that without you. That's not something that they naturally are just like, huh. Like, that's not it. So to see a woman that is just in her life, in her love, in her femininity, men go nuts over that. And you might even be thinking, well, I am in my feminine. Look at what I do. I do yoga every day and I dress like this and I do. No. If you are controlling and people pleasing and fearing rejection and leaning in because of insecure attachment, or leaning all the way out and closing them out and, you know, being safe and being secure and being not secure, but being like secured, like closed off, like that's not feminine. Receiving, open, trusting that no matter, even if they don't choose you, even if it doesn't go as planned, you're just enjoying the present moment. The thing that closes us off is when we start to get into control because of our preferences. It's literally the thing that it's just So when you're on a date, your biggest thing is to just sit there and be present. And when after the date, don't go text your girlfriends and do all the things and get all the stories and create the narratives and oh my God, I met the one. Like, it was a moment. What is the next moment you want to be present for? What is the next moment you want to be present for? We keep bringing people, unless the moment is in front of you right now, stop bringing, unless that man or that woman or that person is in front of you right now, do not bring them into the next. Presence, presence, presence. Because otherwise we're spiking up our hormones and we're doing all this stuff and we're getting all these things and we're creating the narratives and we're cock blocking ourselves. Just leave it in the present moment. Stop trying to control something that is uncontrollable. You cannot control anyone else or what the perception of the date was or all these kind of things and over processing. He said this and then he did this and da-da. Stop doing that. It's going to be hard because you're so used to doing that, but stop. And friends are going to ask and it's really good. A really good time. And then you move on. Don't get attached to the narrative in your head. And then the next part that we're moving into is how to express and experience vulnerability in a healthy, regulated, high value way. Again, this is Vulnerability is receiving, isn't it? It's like being in your receivership, opening up. A lot of things that I get asked in with like my insider circles is like, I'll get to date, like, I'm not getting asked out past date 3, or it's not going past date, like month 3. What's going on here? Vulnerability. My guess is you're having the same conversation over and over again with people. My guess is things are either two ways this happens. One, it's like a job interview and you're talking about successes and the things that you've done and keeping it together. And it's very standard. Nothing is unique about that. You're not being rare and valuable. Or the second option, you're trauma spilling. Both don't work. That's not vulnerability. Vulnerability is you open yourself, you're authentic. Your needs are already met within yourself. So you know how to share about your stories in an empowering way, right? I can think back to times when I first started dating after domestic violence and sexual assault. And the first person I dated, I would tell, because I wanted them to be mad about something. I wanted them to love me enough to make those feelings go away. I wanted them to validate that I was good enough and those things weren't defining me. And so I'd tell, you know what happened? It'd be too much and they'd leave. Or I would try and they're like, I can't, like, or they try and like fix it and I'd get annoyed and pissed. Like there were so many different ways this has worked. That, I mean, I guess didn't work, but like worked out. Like it went in so many ways where it was basically spun on me of like, there are some things a partner doesn't want to know about you. It's like, okay. I even had my own father say that about me with my sexual assault and domestic violence, where it's like, some stuff is just too much, Laura. Okay. And I can get pissed about that, and you can get pissed about whatever your story is. But the truth is, it's the way that we tell the story that matters. Up until I figured out a way to do it in a regulated way and regulated myself and met my own needs, where I was met with, over time, people ask me because of my career, well, what the heck got you into that? Obviously it's not just like I grew up one day and I want to talk about trauma and sex and all the kind of things, although I kind of did. They're like, what is your story? And I'll pace it, right? I'll just be like, I went through some stuff over time. I don't tell them right away. This is like into our relationship. And then I remember one of my partners, it was my most recent one. We were just talking one day and I was talking about my fear of men and how I overcame it. And we were just having this conversation of, neutralizing, which is what we're going to be talking about in the next module, healing your relationship with the masculine. A lot of us have a lot of these built up resentments. And so I had gone on this like father masculine healing journey. And he was asking me about it. And he's like, but why were you afraid of men? He wasn't on social media. He doesn't know. And I nonchalantly was just like, well, domestic violence and being raped will do that to you. And I forgot he's not on social media and it's a conversation we hadn't had yet. And I like looked and I was like, ooh, I'm sorry that I just kind of sprung that on you. Like, I forgot you're not on social media. And like, to me, it's just so neutralized. It's something I talk about often, because in a different way, because I am neutralized around it. Like, to me, it doesn't define me. It's just literally this blip in my radar. And he just looked at me with softness and he was like, no, never apologize for that. He's like, I just am realizing I need to learn to ask you better questions. And I want to get to know you more in this way. Whenever you're ready, at your own pace. And we had a whole conversation around that, and it neutralized my nervous system. And so your story is going to be different, but it's how neutralized are you? Have you met these needs within yourself? Because I can look at the past and be like, oh, my needs weren't getting met from this person or this thing. And I hadn't, like, I needed to be validated. I needed someone to tell me that I was okay and lovable and this didn't make me broken or whatever. To a point of, I spent my time healing the father wound, healing the masculine, healing the parts of me that were taken because of my past, and reclaim them. And so it was no longer this, Are you going to love me if I tell you these things? Can I spill onto you and will you do this? Or can I tell you my achievements and you'll tell me that I'm amazing? Like that's not vulnerability. Vulnerability is your authentic self. Just like when you meet someone, like you're sitting down with one of your girlfriends and it's just like, hey, like, how's your day? Like, here's what I really felt like I was doing this and I opened up this. And, what would I say if I went on a date today? Where it's like, how's your day? It's like I woke up and it's just like a wild day. I'm feeling insecure. Whatever. Not even that. Like, how would I even do this? Let's see. How can I give you an example? It's opening up like a piece that always comes up. It's like my travel, right? Like, why did you do that? And so I originally start with like, hey, I was volunteering at an orphanage and I just kind of stayed, and a piece to add, like I can leave it there, and I have, very basic. And it's like, it was after my mom passed and I really wanted to go find myself and I wanted to go on this journey. And little did I know that it was going to be this 6-year journey that I went to go find myself and lost myself and find myself again and build this business and build this movement. And it was this whole unforeseen thing that now, you look over time and it just opened me to this type of woman that I don't think I would have been able, maybe like I would have maybe been this type of person, but to have the experiences I have now, like it's just so cool. And then that opens up these different things like, well, tell me more. Like, what did you learn? Like that type of thing. There are ways of telling your story. Or I could have opened up like my mom died and I lost myself and I went and I got into drugs and not like that part. No. But the way of like, I say it in such an empowering way where it's like, I'm letting you into a part of my life, a part of my story. So you know me. And I would say that on the first date. I would say that first meeting someone because it's something that makes you rare and valuable. That's beyond just, I built this business and I did this thing, or I went to Asia. Like, they are really cool, but there's ways of doing things, right? And so you're opening up and looking at these things. And then another part of this, actually, I'm going to save that for the next module. And so how to create deep connection with men. How to create deep connection with men. I'm moving some things around behind you guys right now. So landing in that, vulnerability is your story in a way that is empowering, in a way that is real about you. It is moving your wound into a sacred wound. And you're going to see that in your homework. And so the next thing is how to create deep emotional connection with men, having a deep emotional connection with yourself. What is that like for you? How are you spending your time? Do you know these parts of yourself? Do you see these parts of yourself as sacred? Are you trying to find love as a way to cope with the existence of the parts of you that feel that you're unlovable? He will never be able to meet that. I really want that part to land with you. They will never be able to meet that. What is your emotional connection to you, to all that you are? Your feminine essence isn't just that you're happy and cute and pretty. It's that you're raw and open and deep and passionate and alive. And it isn't that you just spill all this onto them. Like I said before, like they don't have space for the feminine pain body, but they do have space for your yearning. They love it when you're like yearning for them. There's a difference between I need you because my needs aren't met, but like I need you. Oh my God, I can't wait to have you. Yearning, longing, like that gap in between of like, when are they going to text me? When are they going to do these things? It comes from this, like now you get to play. And where can you infuse like God into those moments? Where can you infuse patience into those moments? Where can you infuse this space that's like juicy and sexy and sensual, as opposed to, oh my God, do they like me? Don't they like me? Your brain gets in the way and you start to become this anxious person or avoidant where it's like, oh, they didn't text me, so I'm going to text them for this long. And it's still this emotional reaction, right? And then also realizing intensity from a man is not intimacy. They're going to come at you like a freaking hotcake on whatever, on a, what are they called? Skillet. Because you're gorgeous and stunning and you're unique and you're passionate and you're such a fucking gem. You are rare and valuable. Of course, they're going to come after you. Your job as a feminine being is to pace. We're going to talk more about this in the next module, but your job is to pace. Men use words because that is what they do. gonna blow you up, tell you how cute you are, how much he wants you. He's gonna flirt with you. He's gonna tell you all the things. That does not mean he's bonding with you. He is not thinking of the future after your first date, second date, third date, fourth. He's not thinking of it like you did the first time he texted you. That is not the way men work. Pace yourself. Don't confuse their intensity for intimacy. Don't confuse their words for bonding. Men bond through action and multiple interactions. Let him chase you. Again, if he's not in front of you, he's not inside your brain. Deep connection, emotional connection with men is that. You know, it's the vulnerability, it's opening yourself up, it's being in the space, it's being in the feminine, it's seeing your delight, like not being afraid to look silly, not being afraid to let your like true self come out. Like how true of you can you be, instead of trying to perform if this is my man, like always taking the stance of, if you didn't care about this person in front of you, you wouldn't be giving a fuck. Act like that person. You would just be yourself. This has changed my entire dating game, where it's like, and I'm going to talk about this more in a program that I'm making, but called The Art of Dating. But like, if you think back to these things, you are so emotionally open and available and all these kind of things when you're not living in your preferences. When it's someone you're like, I would never, but you're your most authentic self. You're giggly, you're playful, you're showing up, you're doing the things. Be that version of you. And then all of a sudden that person's like, I love you. You don't even know me. Because you're not creating this preference in your head and controlling in your head. You're being the seductress because you're just being you. You're just like, that's just me. I'm silly. I'm playful. I do my life. I work in my work. I do my stuff. I have my hobbies. I'm with my girlfriends. I'll see you when I have time. Like, but if we get our preferences stuck, we close ourselves off from deep emotional connection. We close ourselves off from vulnerability and intimacy, and we're moving into our head instead of our heart and our womb. And so having this space, men want your trust. Men want to chase in the beginning. And then, I mean, they want to chase always. There's this mystery. There's this part of them. Again, we're going to talk about it, but like, they want your presence. They want to make you feel safe. All of that can only come if you feel that with yourself. Where are you blocking yourself in these arenas? Where are you closing yourself off because of the preferences, because of the bruised hearts of your past? Where are you closing yourself off from this? Men don't have access to the divinity and the love that you just tap into and you play with, and your pleasure and your play and your sense. Like, that is not a natural thing that they do. They get that through you. That's why they love sex with us. So it's up to you to open that up, right? To be in this and to focus on the present, that every moment, every part of the experience that life brings up is a gift, is an art. And so is there a way that you can observe it without your preferences getting in the way? I can't emphasize enough that it's like just that moment of where they are with you and where you are. And the depth that you might have felt on that first date or the second date or the third date or the 3 months in, like, that's it. It is nothing until it's something. Men, until there's a fucking ring on your finger, they don't think the way we do. So the deep emotional connection, the thing, the yearning, they text you and all of a sudden you're thinking it's your husband. Like, it's all this stuff that we create. We create these narratives because we're just seeking to be loved. So we want to control instead of seducing with our presence. Your art is being the seductress. That's why I have an entire program on it. Your art is being in your feminine and to choose to view life through love, to feel, it could be fear, it could be love, it could be anger, it could be love, it could be jealousy, it could be love, like everything through the lens of love and presence. That is the feminine, we all have the masculine and the feminine within us, and both are amazing to have. Masculine is the doing, the organizing, the planning, the giving, the thinking. We have that in us. You are probably really excellent at this. I know I am. This is a lot. But feminine is the being. And it's where you can slow down, receive, feel, and connect with your authenticity. When you reconnect with your feminine, that's what makes you so fucking alluring. That's what makes you so magnetic to high quality man, because that's not what they're doing. They're doing the planning and the thinking, the being and the receiving. Like, I am here with you. I'm receiving this present moment. And so you can check in with your body. Where are you when you're texting them? Where are you when you're on that date? Where are you after that date? Can you tap into your five senses? Can you just be where your feet are? Not getting lost in the preferences of what you think him claiming you is going to be like. Like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun. But we fuck up a lot of relationships because we do that. And then we start controlling because they said this and they said this. Okay, so then these are the steps that we have to take in order to get here. And we start controlling to create safety. And then we end up self-sabotaging our own relationships. And so your journey is really looking at, how can you cut the cords I'm trying to control? Feeling it. Like, you can feel right now in your body right now. When I talk to you about the times that you have mothered, when he is not doing the thing, or they are not doing the thing, and they didn't do the dishes, and they said they would pick you up at this time and they're a little bit late, or they said they would plan the date and they didn't fucking do it, and you haven't heard from them yet. So you're leaning in and you're like, okay, like, what about this and this, and we could do this, and and you're organizing the stuff, and yet you're building this resentment within your body because you want him to be doing it, but you also don't trust that he's going to do it, but you don't want to lose the false form of connection that you didn't even want, because this isn't what you actually even want. That tension, where can you feel it in your body right now? And then when I tell you to surrender and release, it's going to get done. The types of things where you know they're going to do it and you're going to be okay. Where your man comes in and he's like, I'm picking you up at 6. Wear something casual, but bring a pair of shoes that we might go dancing in. And some lipstick, because we might be out a little later and you might want to look cute. I'm so excited to see you at 6. I can't wait to see you. How does that feel in your body? Receiving. That's receiving. Check in with yourself. When you can feel the constriction, your job is to not put any more stuff in. Can you breathe? Can you release it? Can you get back into receiving? And it's just playing with your body, letting you know, when are you in? When are you closing yourself off? And how can you open yourself up? When are the preferences getting in the ways of the likes and the don't likes and the things, and this is going to work, and this is my person? To, this is just an experience on the experiences of life. How open can it be? So we're going to be working on that. Paying attention to your body. Working through the journal prompts on this. Being in your feminine. This is what makes you so fucking alluring. So magnetic. You are the lighthouse when this happens. Men are like... So let me know how this lands for you. You're going to see your practice. Your embodiment practice, we're all about the hips, opening your hips up. We do a lot of heart openers when it comes to whatever. We are focused on the hips because that's where your trauma is stored. So hip openers, I open up my hips 3 times a day to keep them open and moving and lubricated. So you'll see that in the embodiment practice. And then next, what we're going to be moving into, and then you'll have your 3 journal prompts, or 4 journal prompts. Is this one? Yeah. So 4 journal prompts after this one. Working into this, getting into your body, getting into your sensuality, getting into where your intimacy blockers, where the fear around the masculine things of this. And the next session, and then come share in Telegram before I jump into that. Come share in Telegram. Come hang out. share your homework, do your thing. And how can I gamify this? We're going to make a point system that when you share a photo of doing the embodiment practice, you're going to get a point for each time you do it. And then we're going to add that up at the end. And you're going to win a one-on-one with me. And then another way that we can do this is you can also share a story of like, I could feel myself going into control and here's what I did. That'll give you 2 points. Sharing when you can feel the controlling. So the embodiment practice, if you share that all throughout, we're going to add up the total. So those are the 2 practices. And then next time, what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be moving into H. So healing your relationship with the masculine to better understand the male brain and create healthy dynamics. So this is for you if you struggle for speaking up for yourself and drawing boundaries. This is for you if you are passive aggressive and you feel like you're not heard and you're the quiet good girl. If you are struggling to be a serial monogamist, this is my thing where it's like you meet a guy, you get in a relationship quickly, and then you break up, rinse and repeat, and you keep doing this. Or you see potential in a date and you tend to laser focus on him and you close your attention off to any other man, any other thing, and you're not understanding the male psyche. I'm going to be breaking this all down for you. So this is going to be great. I'm very excited. And I will see you inside a Telegram. Bye.